Joining me right now is someone that was on the show not too long ago, but it's an important guest because he has a lot of things on his mind. Vince Murdock, welcome back to Kumite Radio.
Thanks, man. Happy to be back. Thanks for having me back on and letting me be able to finish the rest of the story and be able to share this.
For sure. Now, the first question I want to ask you is, the last time we talked, you broke down what exactly happened in the first fight. And you said you were still open to maybe fighting again, which you did. But the big question a lot of people will have is, why did you take another fight with the promotion in that situation you were in?
So I originally took the second fight out of good faith because Bill had assured me that he was going to take care of it. So at the time, I thought that it was being taken care of. I was out there and I had already committed to a 2-fight deal. So technically, I was already in a 2-fight contract. It wasn't probably, I just at the time I didn't think that they brought me in a room, they had a meeting, and they convinced me that it wasn't personal to a degree, but you're right, I probably shouldn't have competed for him again after that, especially not having the same ref twice in a row. That looks bad on my part. But I feel like I was convinced a bit by my team. In order for my team to advance further in the tournament, they needed me to compete because we didn't have, our 45 or my backup wasn't very good, and it was kind of put on me that if I didn't compete, we weren't going to move further in the tournament. Originally, I decided that I didn't want to fight that third time because originally I'd cut weight, made weight, I was on weight, and they called me and then they brought me in for that meeting and told me that I will not be fighting. So they said, go ahead, eat, rehydrate, do whatever. And then weigh-in day, about 3:00 in the afternoon, they called me and said, you got to weigh in. We want you to fight tomorrow. I go, everything's telling me that I shouldn't do this. I don't feel comfortable, but again, at the time, my team wanted me to fight. They thought that this, I was to a degree pressured. They told me, we're giving you a chance to fight. I probably shouldn't have done it, but at the time, no one was there to really tell me no, and I thought it would be an easy fight for me, and I was wrong. But yeah, man, I probably shouldn't have taken any more fights. I was under the assumption that they were going to take care of that first one at the time, and that just didn't seem to be the case, and I was lied to.
Now, out there in India, there's Super Fight League, which is the promotion, and then there is
Yeah.
the All India MMA Commission. And
Yeah.
when you talk to Bill, who is the CEO of Super Fight League, does he have power to go to the All MMA Commission and kind of sway them into changing anything? Or is it just completely the decision of the commission?
Well, I look at it like this. I wouldn't say that he directly has power, but at the end of the day, he didn't get behind me. He didn't support me. He didn't go and make an appeal like he promised. He didn't do any of the things that he told me he was gonna do. Alan Fernandez is making the promotion look bad. He's bad for their business, and it's not just me; it's a million other fighters. So if he's not worried about the decisions that Alan's making, because it's obviously costing the promotion, I just don't believe that he doesn't have any power or say or influence. I guess too. That just I don't buy it. They did a bunch of shady things to me throughout the whole entire trip there, which is why I never spoke except for our interview, which it actually just got worse from there on out. Leads me to believe that they're a bit corrupt. And honestly, I just don't know how much of it, it's hard for me to tell if they weren't, if this wasn't, I mean, I got 2 fight stoppages that the outcome should have been DQ'd, but instead of being DQ'd, I was given losses in fights that I never lost. You know what I mean? These things just don't add up. They were given both opportunities, Alan and the promotion, to come together and try and find a solution, and none of them want to do it. They just both blame each other. I talked to Alan. He says I should blame SFL. I talked to SFL and Bill and hit them, and they told me that they have zero control over what goes on with them. And I expressed to them, like, why didn't we make any appeals? Why didn't you make any appeals? Why would you want this kind of exposure versus just trying to take care of it? You brought an American out from one of the biggest MMA communities, and just, I mean, you tore my record apart. Uh, Everybody saw it. It's no secret that those are bad calls. Um, and the fact that they didn't back me, they didn't ever respond to me. They never even got back to me to begin with. Like, uh, you know what I mean? Bill also claimed that he was going to fix these, you know, them expressing that they don't have any power, I think is just an easy way of getting out of this. Of course, it's not ultimately up to them, but they, you're here to tell me you don't have any influence over the people working under your banner. I just don't buy it.
You said that there were a lot of shady things going on that you saw and you experienced. Could you go into detail with these things now that you are in a safe place?
Yeah. Look, man, I was dealing with some thugs, some straight up gangsters, and there's a reason why I didn't speak because, I don't want to say I was fearing for my life, but I definitely feared for my safety. Um, we almost got kicked out of our hotel. Our keys suddenly stopped working. Um, they switched our contracts as soon as we got there. So they flew us out. We'd already signed contracts in America, shipped them back. We get there and they make us sign new contracts, but they tell us it's the same contract, just that they needed a witness there and they wanted to be in the room while we signed it. They said everything was the same. So obviously, we're dumb for not looking at it, but whatever. They made us sign 2 contracts and they switched them on us. The contract that they gave us, so if you only had 1 fight, they were supposed to pay us for 2. Instead of original contract says that they'd pay us up to 75%. Then the new contract says that they'll only give us 25%. So not only were so the other guys on my team that only had 1 fight got 25% of the purse, which was like, I don't want to go into details, but under $300. Like, you know what I mean? They were just doing all sorts of shady stuff. They were taking money out of my purse to pay for food and laundry service. I mean, who's going to fly fighters out for 4 weeks and not provide any laundry? Like, we train twice a day, if not more, and you can't provide like any a contact or, you know what I mean? Like any way to do laundry. The food, they didn't provide food for the first 3 days. So we were told to order room service. They told us that they were going to fix that. And then we get the bill and then they literally fought us to like, this is why it took us so long to get home. They held our money. They wouldn't fly us home. And then when they went to go pay us, they took all these charges. They didn't want to reimburse us for our visas because we didn't have, they didn't want to take a bank statement. They wanted a receipt. And the only reason why we got a receipt was because I use PayPal and PayPal sends me a receipt, but there is no receipt. And I think they knew that. But regardless, it's just it was so much shady things going on. Our first week there, we got off the 30-hour flight. They keep telling us we had to fight on a Friday. We got in on a Tuesday at 6 a.m. They told us that we needed to do medicals. So we had to fast. They wanted us to do a blood fasting test or something. So we fasted every morning. And they're like, oh, the van broke down one day and we can't come get you. Then the next day it was, oh, you got to do a photo shoot. And then we ran out of time for the doctors. And it was just something different every day. So we didn't do our medicals till the day of weigh-ins. So I had to weigh in, not eat anything after I weighed in, and it took us 8 hours in the hospital. India's a bit slow when it comes to things, getting things done there. So we didn't get back to the hotel until about 7:30, and this is the day of weigh-ins. I fight the next day, and it almost just seemed like they were messing with us. But it's so much shady stuff. They didn't provide us with a place to train. Uh, I mean, I don't really know. I mean, there's plenty of things, man. I've videotaped, or I recorded the conversations I've had with Bill, or not Bill, but SFL and uh, Allen, the referee. Um, and he admits, I bring him privately. He admits to that the doctor made a bad call, and that if we had done the appeal that day or something, he would have switched it there. Just everything about going out there was ran so unprofessionally and so crooked. Uh, it was by far the worst experience I've ever had with any promotion.
You said that you would cut weight, and then the next day they would tell you you're not fighting, and then
Twice.
yeah, twice, and then they would tell you the next day that you are fighting. So
That was
that
the
kind of,
last week. Yeah.
yeah, that kind of shows that a lot of guys are not making weight. Is that something that was common throughout the whole experience of guys not making weight, but they're fighting at lower weight classes?
So I do know that Justin's guy was like 20 pounds or something bigger. Like I want to say he was like 200 pounds or something, and Justin was, I don't know for sure, but I know that the guy didn't make weight. I was also told my opponent didn't make weight, but at the time I wasn't fighting him because I wasn't fighting, so I didn't really care. I never asked how much he missed weight by because I was never told. I was never supposed to fight the guy. I was just told that the 45er didn't make weight. But yeah, it looked like a lot of the guys just didn't care, especially because a lot of them weren't getting paid that much. So I guess 20% or whatever it was, they didn't care. That's just from what I know. But I mean, I don't know by how much a lot of these guys were missing weight. I can't say that for sure. I do know that it was a very common thing. Yeah.
Now, you are the most vocal out of anybody, and the other
Well, I
fighters.
got screwed the most out of anybody, in my
Yes,
opinion.
yes, of course. Like if you watch the fights, they're very controversial. A lot of people are supporting you in your crusade to kind of like right the wrongs that has happened to you, and a lot of people can see that there are a lot of mistakes that happen and a lot of mishaps, and I guess stuff that doesn't look straight that's
Yeah.
going on over there, right? So now, where do you go from here? Like, what is your plan to kind of rectify what has happened to you?
It's crazy because all the way up until yesterday, I still kind of offered and lent out some sort of hand to both the promotion and Alan. I was like, look, man, I would really hate to continue this smear campaign. I haven't done any interviews. I made one post yet to kind of just show you that I do have a following, and it can only get worse from here. Um, I offered plenty of times to you know to fix the situation. I don't know if they can. I don't know if it's probably past that time now, but from now on, I'm just trying to gain some momentum behind this, kind of expose them, and let people know that my story and what I went through. Hopefully, this reaches a commission or somebody that can fix this. Um, maybe I'm ideally I would like to see this come across maybe another sanctioning body that could take a look at this and who governs the police kind of thing. Like if the commission's the top of the top out there, who polices them when they do something wrong? Someone's got to be held accountable, or there's got to be something that trumps them, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I'd like to hope that this just gains enough exposure to where it is fixable through other means. If it's not fixable through Alan, what's funny is because I keep saying Alan, because when I talk to Alan, not only is he the referee, but he's the commission too, and that was a bit strange for me too. So I was like, "So you can fix this whole thing?" And he goes, "Yeah." And the thing is he put me through a bunch of loops too. He made me send him some bullshit email and saying that he was gonna fix it, uh, and he didn't. And then I was like, "Look, man, Alan, I'd like to, uh, make a post saying that that this was fixed, and what I mean, I was wrong or whatever." And he just didn't respond. In fact, he blocked me on everything, and I was like, "Guy's childish, man." I'm not asking for anything crazy. Is you look at those videos, any commission, any referee is gonna, you know, um, know that those were bad calls. It's obvious. It's simple, man. And I'm not asking for nothing crazy. I'm asking for just the right things. You saw the guy, my opponent, kicks the other guy in the same thing, same shot. That gets turned into a no contest, but mine it doesn't. Do you get what I mean?
Yes, I
I
know
get two
exactly what you mean.
unjust. I. It's just strange to me that I get two bizarre stoppages, and and they result in losses instead of no contests. It's like how do no contests is like how do those result in losses instead of, you get what I mean? Like those were obviously some weird stoppages, regardless of the stoppage, but why would they result in a loss? Like they were both wrong decisions, but why would I lose from them? So them not only were the uh but the result of the stoppages were even worse. You know what I mean? Um yeah, man, it's just that's why it just leads me to think that this is more corrupted than it seems, because nothing really makes sense. A lot of these fights were predetermined. They were sitting fighters so that some teams would lose and some teams would go further in the tournament. Um, it's just that's why I feel like it's hard to um, not say that it was corrupt, because as soon as anything happened to me, the fight was stopped. Does that make sense? I get a tiny cut on my head that's on the side of my head, and the fight's over. I talked to the doctor too. They let me talk to the doctor, and he goes, you needed stitches. And I go, dude, I'm in a fist fight. Of course, I'm gonna get punched, and things are gonna happen in there. That's part of the sport. It's a combat simulated death match.
Hmm.
What do you expect to happen? If I get that cut on my knee or anywhere else, are you gonna stop the fight? That, like, it doesn't even make sense. It's on the side of my head. It'd have to obstruct my vision or something. And he just couldn't answer anything. And then I go, do you remember when John Jones fought with his pinky toe out of his foot? And he goes, who's John Jones? And I was just like, all right, well, I think we should just be done talking, because you obviously just don't know anything about this sport. Um, and he didn't, man. If there's plenty of evidence out there, I shouldn't even have to like really defend the videos at this point anymore. For those that haven't saw it, um, it's all there. You guys can go make your own opinion. I'll tell you this: I haven't seen a single person out of the 236 shares and the millions and millions of views that I've had so far. I haven't seen one single person side with Allen or the commission or SFL. Um, so let that.
When you got back to the States and you went back to your team, and I know that your team is full of guys that are notable guys in the community. What was their reaction to what happened to you? Because you know you got Uriah Faber, big names, guys that could help you out and get the
Okay,
word out.
interesting. So Faber's actually been messaging them since before I was out there, begging them to send me home. Faber's the one that told me to keep quiet, lock the door, be careful what you say. He was the one telling me to be careful and that I'm dealing with some gangsters and be careful out there. Um, so he's had my back. He's been up the bat for me this entire time. He's the one that's been messaging for me, trying to get me home. Uh, so it's for me right now. I don't really want to involve and put his name on something that's so dirty. Right? You get what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
this is pretty negative. We're good. Me and Favor been friends for a long time, and this isn't something that I would really want to drag him into unless it needs more exposure. If that's the case, I'll make a statement that I feel like is more appropriate and professional that he could probably apply his name to. But right now, I would like to just kind of keep doing these interviews and doing what I can do. Um, you can go and look at any of my Facebook or Instagram. It's no secret. I have plenty of friends with the reach, but that's not the point. I'm curious just to keep doing these and getting people involved, and that's just what I'm gonna keep doing. It's also weird too is that you should see the amount of Indian fighters that have reached out to me and have sided with me. I mean, people even in the same show
Mm-hmm.
um, have reached out and just apologized on behalf of India, and I'm like, look, man, I'm not mad at India or, I don't think anything of that. What my frustration is purely with SFL and not the country. I mean, India's been good to me, and I enjoyed my time there. It was definitely an eye-opening experience. Um, but any frustration I have is not against you guys or India in general. It is purely against SFL and the commission out there. Um, so I wanted to make that clear.
What
Mm.
would be the result that you want so you can move on with your career, you can move on with your life and not even think about this anymore? What would you like to happen?
Man, I just want to find, I want to right these wrongs. Um, I would like these fights to just be turned no contest or just scratched in general. They shouldn't even count as a fight because they were poorly ran. It almost seems illegal to me. Um, it was some of the most unprofessional work or show that I've ever been a part of. It's funny because SFL on the outside looks really good. Amir Khan's name's on it. MTV's running it, but it really is just full of crooks. Um, if you've seen the way they treated us behind the scenes and stuff, it's almost mind blowing. There's plenty of other fighters that will speak up eventually. It's not just me. I could go into it all day about uh, the you know the treatment and the rides and just the lack of communication, the taxing us, taking money out of our purse, withholding our own money. Um, you know what I mean? Just tons of things. The results that I would want, man. Honestly, I don't care about anything other than just getting these losses off my record. Um, if that takes having another commission looking at it and overriding it, that would be awesome. That would be ideal because the people that I'm trying to work with are uh, obviously crooked. I mean, there's no way around it, man.
Hmm.
You Those are mistakes. You look at those fights and they're obviously wrong. Like you can't look at it any other way. Like they're not right. And um, the fact that he has power to fix that and just chooses not to only leads me to believe that it is more corruption. I hate saying that, and I hate thinking that it is, like that. But what else am I supposed to think? You know what I mean? Like you told me you could fix these things. You have the power to fix these things, yet you choose not to. For what?
Yeah, you were gaining some momentum. You go over there, you get these 2 TKO losses, which was never any knockout being involved in any of this. Have you tried to contact Amir Khan, who is a big figure in the combat sports world?
I mean, through Instagram, yeah, I did actually messaged him while I was there, and I was like, "Hey, man, I think you should know some of the things that are going on here. I think you would be surprised, unless he already knows. I don't know." I had a buddy reach out for me from Mayweather's camp. He reached out to, uh, someone out in London that speaks with him, and basically just said, "I'm shit out of luck." Um, it. I I've 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 exhausted almost all options. I'm emailing the commission every day out there. I'm emailing some guy named Daniel Isaac, who's also the head of the commission out there, along with Alan. Um, it's just it's the Wild West over there, and no one really cares. Like, there's nothing I can do. I can't just go call my lawyer and what I mean, try and put these guys through a legal battle, because it just, like, I don't even know if that's possible to do. You know what I mean? Like, there's no system over there, man, and they really can just kind of do whatever they want, which doesn't seem fair, but that's just the way it is.
Yeah, your story is a cautionary tale, and hopefully you do get in contact with somebody that can change something and get these transferred to no contest and move on with your career, because I'm pretty sure that mentally it is so draining on you right now that you can't
Dude,
even focus on anything.
bro, trying to even express this interview, because it's seriously so long. I mean, it's 4 weeks worth of stuff. I'm actually pretty disappointed in my presentation, but yeah, man, it is draining mentally, stressful, and just having to talk about this, uh, you know, is just difficult to put into words, and I think that's why I'm having trouble with it. I'm sitting here jumbling around things and putting things together, and they're all out of order. Uh, you know, all I can say is, if you haven't seen the videos and stuff like that, or the evidence, or whatever, check out my page. It's all there. Um, I could care less about all the things SFL did to me. That's not the story I'm really trying to push. It's more so that these decisions are unjust. They're not right. And I feel like, someone needs to be held accountable, and they just need to be reversed. That's the only case I'm really trying to make. I could care less about what SFL really does at this point. There's a bunch of shady promotions out there, but to ruin someone's career, and it's not just mine. It's a lot of these fighters, man. I'm not the only one that stuff like this has happened to. Plenty of other fighters have reached out about continuous illegal blows, and not, tapping, and just some other things like that, and all by the same guy too, which is ironic. But it's been difficult to present this, because it's overwhelming, and then there's just so much, and it's so hard to get out in just one interview. And I definitely appreciate the opportunity and the platform to do it, but it's definitely been difficult. As you can see, it's hard for me to come up with sentences to put the two.
If you could give a message to any fighter that is thinking about going out to India and fighting for Super Fight League, what would you say to them?
Well, it would depend where they're from. If they're from India, they'd probably like it. But if you're used to, you know, correct things being run correctly, I know it looks good on the screen, and the presentation of it looks good, but it is not what you think it is. Uh, it is one of the most poorly ran shows that I've ever been a part of. Um, they treated me terribly. Uh, and if you're willing to risk your career with that kind of commission, because I'm telling you, it is not me, man. There's about, like, I would say 50% of those fighters have all been screwed by somebody in that commission. They run the show, man, and I'm telling you, it's wild. I mean, just go look at my page. People are posting stuff from last season that he was doing. He's taking, he's reffing fights about with guys that he coaches, and you know what I mean, and just some bizarre things, man. My advice would be is, you know, where you want to go in the sport, and if it's to, if you really want something out of this sport, uh, that's almost like career suicide in my opinion. Until they fix some things, I wouldn't even consider it. But if you just want to go out there and you know, I don't know, fight. I mean, I guess it'd be. I wouldn't think there's anything worth it. I definitely wouldn't do it.
All right, Vince, man, thank you for your time, and hopefully they will be able to correct the wrongs that has happened in the past month, I guess. Yeah, man. Good luck on your crusade or your endeavor to,
My
you
smear
know,
campaign.
exactly. Like it's a smear campaign, but it's also like you're trying to do something to,
It's
uh,
justice.
yeah, just justify or rectify the situation you're in right now. Because if you don't do it, who else is gonna do it for you? You know.
No, I know, absolutely. I mean, I appreciate you giving me the platform to speak about it. It's late and it probably didn't come out as well as I had hoped, but I mean, I still got the info out that I wanted to, so hopefully it turns out well.
Thanks for your time, and hopefully everything works out. And I will definitely be talking to you in the future, right?
Awesome, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.